engage with the Lakers that much, but kept putting out publicly all these trade offers so that we saw last night it would ruin their team chemistry, at least temporarily, disrupt all their young guys, make things miserable for them.
It's not just possible, it's what happened.
You think so?
I don't know. I know that the Pelicans had a method to their madness in the way this went.
That was pretty good.
Did they know it was going to lead to a 40-point loss because everybody's upset? Not necessarily. If the Lakers had drafted De'Aaron Fox instead of Lonzo Ball, and I don't want to get into all that, if they had the assets that would make Anthony Davis
Donovan Mitchell
available, they would. The Pelicans would make a trade with them. I've never, in 16 years covering the NBA, I've never seen anything like this. It's fascinating, and it's not even about the trade. It's about everything that's going on around the trade.
Ah, yes, drama in L.A. Dave McMenamin, he's been following the Lakers, joined us this morning. McMenamin, I want you to take us inside that young locker room with the Lakers. How are the players handling all of this uncertainty surrounding the trade deadline?
Well, Matt, I'm not going to suggest that they're so fragile that they're just crumbling at the thought of being traded, but what you see on the court right now, the product does not look like a cohesive team. And this was the same team that at one stretch early on in the season won 18 out of 27 games, was the number 4 seed in the West. Now you see some slumping shoulders. You see some poor decision making. And now, I'm not saying across the board they're playing poorly. Brandon Ingram has played some of the best basketball of his career, had a career-high 36 points last week while this speculation is going on. But you know, whether it be a sophomore slump for guys like Kyle Kuzma or Josh Hart or them dealing with knick-knack injuries, they don't look like the same player they were about a month ago. And then you throw in the fact that Lonzo Ball is out rehabbing that ankle of his. This team doesn't look anything like the team that we saw in mid-December.
All right, so here's the distinct possibility. It's probably going to happen that a deal won't get done. So what lingering effect could there be with LeBron, who's got a history of players and rosters, if it doesn't get done? What could happen with this team if the deal for AD isn't done today?
Well, I guess the natural benefit that they have built into the schedule that's coming up is the All-Star break. And so these guys will get away. Some will be in Charlotte showcasing their skills. Some will be on a beach somewhere, get some time to rest their bodies, rest their mind. And then you come back and regroup. You got 25 games left, and it's a sprint towards potentially making the playoffs. They know they have the talent to do it. You know, around that time they expect or hope to get Lonzo Ball back, and you make a run at it. I mean, listen, if they don't get traded, they can look at what happened already this week and say, you know what, we're still in L.A. Like, Svi Mykhailiuk, their rookie, was traded to Detroit. They're going to still be in L.A. if they're not traded to New Orleans today. So they can look at, like, hey, we understand this is a business. Let's try to do the best we can to make this team do something this year. None of these guys have sniffed the playoffs before. That's a fun experience for a young player trying to make a name for him in this league. And they also know if we're not professional and we do get traded to our next destination, maybe our long NBA careers that we were hoping that we'd have when we were top draft picks in LA will never come to fruition. So they need to be professionals every day about it. But we'll see how these next 3 games go up until the All-Star break for the Lakers. It could still be pretty rough, but the hope is when there's a little bit of a break, they can come back feeling refocused and refreshed.
We all wait and see how this thing plays out. Dave McMenamin with us this morning. Dave, thanks.
Come on, guys. It's not rocket science. I would love to play with a lot of great players. That's just who I am.
Great look by James Davis for a 2-hand jam. James to the basket. James alley-oop, and Davis will put it down.
Look, it's not a day in the NBA if it doesn't also involve a little bit of drama. Bobby Marks is our front office insider. Okay, right now we have radio silence between the Lakers and the Pelicans. Let's play in this world where a trade doesn't get done, that there is no Anthony Davis in LA. If you are the Lakers, what is the best plan moving forward as of 3:01 today?
Patience. That's the best plan. And I think when you look at where they were in December before LeBron got hurt, they were 19 and 14. The goal was always about next summer. It wasn't about throwing the kitchen sink about Anthony Davis in late January. And this team is still good enough to get into the playoffs. I think when we get past the deadline, we are looking at the buyout market. So players like Carmelo Anthony, Wayne Ellington, Wes Matthews. Those players will, all of us, DeAndre Jordan possibly, those players will become available. I think Dave hit it right on the head, that get away for a week and kind of regroup. But the goal right now is this summer, if the Anthony Davis deal does not happen right now.
Okay, so that's the Lakers side of things. Let's not pretend that there isn't drama and sort of angst on the Pelicans side of thing either. Coach Gentry has said he's not going to play Anthony Davis until the trade deadline has passed. So at 3:01 today, if Davis is still in a Pelicans uniform, what should they do?
He shouldn't play the rest of the season.
None.
None. He should sit out. I wouldn't even have him practice. I would probably just send him home into the offseason. I know the NBA will probably not be happy about the rule of resting healthy players, but we're in uncharted waters. This is also a player who has to be traded 10 days ago, and this is their best trade asset moving forward. So you can't put him on the court to risk an injury and then all of a sudden to depreciate his value. So if I was New Orleans, he is home for the rest of the summer.
He does have an injury. He's been cleared to practice, but we could drag out this finger injury for a while. That is our front office insider, and you'll be with us all morning, Bobby, because, look, the trade deadline is here. It's at 3 p.m. Eastern today. We've got you covered across the board. SportsCenter is live with you until 1 p.m. Eastern, and then those guys, The Jump, the trade deadline special, they pick things up at 1 o'clock and take you through the deadline. So if anything happens, when it does happen, we've got you covered. Blame Randy. He's not even here. If you didn't sleep well, blame Matt. If you don't have milk for your cereal, clearly that's my fault. Just starting your morning with some Kevin Durant logic. Nicole and Matt on your TV for you.
Yeah, speaking of blame this morning, which we're going to do all morning, Durant entered his 9-day silence with the media, and it was bottled up frustration.
It's so your fault, Matt.
Yeah, we gave you a little snippet of it. I am the media, Kevin Durant. Come for me. I'm a man. I'm 40. More on that in a minute. Durant started the game 6 for 6 from the field, knocking down a couple of threes from the arc. Finished the first quarter 15 points, 6 of 8 shooting. Warriors led 33-31. End of one. What about running with it? Warriors took advantage of their fast break skills. Second quarter, Warriors lead by 7. Good look, Steph Curry. You know he'll clean that up. Next possession, Curry. We have a pick 6. Warriors scored 50 fast break points in the game. They're most of the game in the last 20 seasons. They lead 66-52 at the half. Third quarter, this thing went from bad to ugly. Rudy Gay, he's picked by Curry. Then he brings it the other way, finds Durant. Warriors by 20. In fact, here's how good it was for the Warriors and how bad it was for the Spurs. In the third quarter alone, the Warriors scored 49 points. That is tied for the most allowed in any quarter in Spurs team history. That's a storied history. That's an aggressive dunk. That is also happy Kevin Durant, basketball player. This, however, is post-game with the media, Kevin Durant, following the 141-102 win.
We've noticed that you hadn't talked for a while. Is it anything to do with anything on your mind, or has it just been coincidence that you haven't talked for some time?
Why do you care?
Because you usually talk.
Well, I didn't feel like talking the last couple of days.
It was anything in particular?
No, I just ain't feel like it.
Anything to do with conversation about free agency?
Yeah, that's the conversation you're going to have. I don't think about that type of stuff. That's your job. I have nothing to do with the Knicks. I don't know who traded Porzingis. They got nothing to do with me. I'm trying to play basketball. Y'all come here every day, ask me about free agency, ask my teammates, my coaches. You rile up the fans about it. Y'all, let us play basketball. That's all I'm saying. And now when I don't want to talk to y'all, it's a problem with me. Come on, man. Grow up. Grow up. Yeah, you, grow up. Come on, bro. I come in and go to work every day. I don't cause no problems. I play the right way, or I try to play the right way. I try to be the best player I can be every possession. What's the problem? What am I doing to y'all? I just don't trust none of y'all. Every time I say something, it's get twisted up and thrown out in so many different publications, try to tear me down with my words that I say. So when I don't say nothing, it's a problem. I just want to play ball. I want to go to the gym and go home. That's all. Is that a problem? All right, then.
How are you playing? How's the team playing in the last couple weeks?
I'm done. You know you don't care about that.
I just asked you.
Have a good night.
I'm sorry, who needs to grow up?
I kind of
Confused.
need.
Was he looking in the mirror?
I wish I had a two-shot with you to speak to America about that. I have things to say, but that's not our job. Kevin Durant might not want to talk about it, but he's one of a number of star players who have a chance to hit free agency this offseason. You've got Durant, Kawhi, Kyrie, Clay, Kemba, a lot of Ks, all all-stars from this season. Who, Nicole, can potentially hit the market?
Can we talk about James Harden? Because that actually will make me feel better. And he's still streaking, not in the quad, though. Rockets taking on the Kings early in the first. Step back. Seen that a few million times. It was a wee bit hot early. There's another one. 12 points in the first quarter for James Harden. Rockets were up 15 in the second, so this got away from them quickly. Harden, corner. Does he call bank? I don't know. Doesn't matter. He called bank on the foul. Turns that into a 4-point play. Mike D'Antoni was like, they set the tone early. Well, here's why. Because on the very next possession after the 4-point play, screen, another three, and Harden has 4 threes for the half. Later in the second, Rockets now up 26. Clearly defense was optional or just completely misguided. Why do you put 5 on Chris Paul and leave James Harden with his 253s so far this season wide open? That's another one. 5 threes at the half. And then next possession, 6th three-point attempt. 6 good on 7 attempts. 25 points in the first half, 6 threes, tied for the most by Harden in a half in his career. Rockets now up 31 in the third. Another 3. Why not? So now he's at 28. And then the very next possession, he goes for his 8th 3 of the game. It's good. 31 points for Harden. Fun fact, 28 straight games of 30-plus points for Harden. More on that in a second. Rockets were only up 25 points in the fourth quarter, and things got a little chippy. Harden's still playing. Why? Fouled by Frank Mason, and then watch the reaction. He throws the ball at Mason's feet.
Yes.
I'm going to throw my ball at you. Come on, guys. Break it up. Break it up. Mason did hit Harden kind of in the face.
Did he hit his face or his beard?
I think it was the beard, but the beard's attached to the face, so therefore we're going to call it facial region.
Possession's what? 9/10.
Hence the law. Harden got teed up. Chris Paul had 15 points. Eric Gordon was back. Rockets led by as many as 37. Harden said we're kind of catching momentum. It's the third straight win for the Rockets, 127-101, and it does continue. Harden is now at 28 straight games with 30 points. That's the third longest streak in NBA history. His current average over those 28 games is north of 41 points per. It is helped by those consecutive 55-ish point games a few weeks ago. Next up, Rockets Thunder Saturday night. You can see it on ABC.
Your Anthony Davis update. Practice Wednesday with the Pelicans, but sat out the game against the Bulls. The Brow has been nursing a finger injury for the last 2 weeks. The Pelicans brass still holding out on trading their star center while actually holding him out. Head coach Alvin Gentry said he will not play until Davis. He will not play Davis until after the trade deadline if he is still on the team. For that trade deadline, 3 p.m. Eastern. Hello, Woj.
You guys, good morning.
Hi.
Good morning to you. He's been working all day and all night. He's here first thing in the morning to tell us this. Where do we stand between the Lakers, AD, and everything else?
Well, Lakers and Pelicans, there's been no communication here the last 48 hours. New Orleans has not responded to the Lakers' most recent offer. The Lakers upped their offer, added more young players into their deal. They've offered 2 first-round picks, and this potentially would be a pretty big, complicated deal. There'd be a lot of moving parts, protections on draft picks, and the longer you go without talking, these are hard to put together quickly. So the Lakers' hope of finding a pathway to a deal for Anthony Davis, has really waned the last couple of days. The Lakers have made calls on other deals. They checked in on Trevor Ariza in Washington to see if there was a way to get at him. Washington wants to keep him, re-sign him. Right now with the clock ticking toward 3 o'clock Eastern, it looks less likely than it has at any point in this that, at least with the Lakers, there's any deal. And right now New Orleans isn't down the road with any team, but deadlines cause teams to move and people to react, and so you never know what happens between now and mid-afternoon.
3 o'clock is the trade deadline. The interesting situation last night, Harrison Barnes traded from the Mavericks in the middle of the game. We'll have LeBron's reaction to that coming up in a little bit, but that does free up, $30 million in cap space for the Mavericks this offseason. What can they do? What do they want to do with that money?
Well, you look at how their team's going to be built now around a 19-year-old Luka Doncic, 23-year-old Kristaps Porzingis. They may not be in the market for one of the elite free agents. They haven't shown in Dallas that they can recruit that kind of player. You go back through the years, toward the end of their career, they've missed on a lot. But they may be a year or two away again as free agents look at partnering with those two players. Porzingis comes back healthy. And I think people are just, the idea of playing with Doncic is going to become more and more intriguing to people. I do think Dallas can become a free agent factor again among the elite. I don't know if they are with these players still in their early 20s. And just because you have the space doesn't mean you have to use it. You can, get guys that may be a big number for 1 year, come back into free agency 2020 or 21.
Doncic, by the way, isn't even in his early 20s.
That's amazing. He's
he hasn't even hit
19
that.
years old.
Yeah.
What we see on trade deadline day is teams making moves for the right now, teams making moves for the future. Woj, a consummate pro, didn't even have a cell phone on the desk on trade day.
I know, because I think it just goes directly into his ear. Hey, look, if it happens on or before trade deadline, we totally have you covered because SportsCenter is live on your TV now until 1 p.m. Eastern, and then that is followed by The Jump and their trade deadline special.